When we focus on the things that we love, we attract more of those things and we're pouring our energy, right? Oh, I love this and I love that. But there's something that's even more important than creating a life that you love, and it's creating a life that loves you back. Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Francis Faden, and I'm so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you magnify your miracles. Have you ever wondered what it means to create a miraculous life? People ask me this all the time. They say, well, magnifying your miracles, how can I experience more miracles in my life? And if you've been a fan of the podcast, you know that I've talked about how to go from a good life to a miraculous life. I've mentioned this idea before, but I've never really dialed in one of the core principles that I think is so important, especially for women, of what it is and how do you know when you have created a miraculous life. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. But so before we do that, let's take a deep breath together and just get ourselves grounded and centered, breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need, and letting go of whatever happened before, whatever might happen later, and just coming deeply into the now. We're just getting ourselves open and receptive for the universe to give us this inspiration. And knowing that whatever you need to move forward in a powerful way, that's what you're going to hear today. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, my friend. So, if you've been around the world of manifestation, if you've read the books and you've seen the videos and you've even watched my podcast or listened to my podcast, you have probably heard people say to create a life that you love. How can you create a life that you love? Here's all the techniques, here's all the things you can do. Focus on what you love. And I've even said that to you. But I'm going to be really honest with you today and tell you that there's something even more important than that, especially if you are a woman, especially if you are a highly sensitive, highly creative woman, which I know you are. That is a little twist on this idea. So, when we focus on the things that we love, we attract more of those things and we're pouring our energy, right? Oh, I love this and I love that. But there's something that's even more important than creating a life that you love, and it's creating a life that loves you back. Write that down and underline it. Creating a life that loves you back. So important. Now, what do I mean by that? And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Way back when I first was diagnosed that I needed to avoid gluten, and I was trying to figure out all that, there was a woman that was called the gluten free chef or the gluten free girl or something like that. And she had this book about her journey with celiac and how she had to relearn how to eat. And her cookbook was called something like The Gluten Free Girl's Guide to Eating Food That Loves You Back, or something like that. And it struck me, it's always stuck with me when I've thought about this. Like, oh, yeah, here we are eating all these foods that we love, but that are harming us, right? We love pasta, we love bread, we love, like for me, all the things that I grew up eating, but they weren't loving me back. In fact, that they were making me kind of sick. So that idea has really stuck with me. And I thought, women tend to do this. We tend to pour our energy into the people and the things that we love. And we put so much focus on loving them, right? And we put so little energy into making sure that those things are loving us back, right? And so we end up in these one sided relationships. We might end up in a career that, like, we love the idea of this career, but it's actually burning us out or it's causing us health problems, all kinds of things. Well, in my own work that I do with creative entrepreneurs, with women who are in business owners, this is one of the key things that I take a look at is when I'm looking at your energy and I'm looking to see like how you're wired for success, how you're wired for manifestation, like how does it work? I like to call this figuring out how the universe dances with you. How do you do this dance of manifestation? How do you do this dance of co-creation? It's all in your energy field. And I have talked about this many, many times in this podcast. I've had guests that also I've talked about this with. So this is not a new topic, this idea of how you're wired. But one of the things that I haven't talked about is why you want to find that out. Because if you're wired a certain way, but you have in your mind, I'm going to have this kind of business and we're going to do these kinds of things and it's going to look this kind of way. But that's not what nurtures you. That's not what supports you. That's not what really is a good fit for you. You're going to end up with a one sided business, meaning you're pouring all your love into your business or to your career and it's draining you instead of it being an energy of meeting you where you are, supporting you, and lifting your needs. So, a lot of times people think, oh, it's just about making more money. More money is great, but you can make all the money in the world. And if it's still set up to be draining your energy, then all the money in the world isn't going to give you the health and the energy and the sense of fulfillment that you're actually really looking for. So I want you to think about this. What would it look like to create a life that loved me back? It's kind of a big question, isn't it? It's a broad question. And this has come up for me a couple of times. So I, in my actually my late 20s, early 30s, I had moved to New York City. I had been living in Maryland, and it had been a dream since I was probably 15 years old that I wanted to live in Manhattan. I wanted to live in New York City. I wanted to do the singer-songwriter thing. Like I had this like 15-year-old dream inside of me that never went away. So right before my 30th birthday, I said, you know what? It's now or never. Let me move to New York. And I was going it because I love New York City. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the theater. I loved the music scene. I loved the art scene. I loved all the different ethnic people that were, I just loved everything about New York City. And of course, I'm from New York originally, not the city, but I was raised on Long Island. And so we would go into the city and it was always magical to go to like the UN or to go to the Met Museum or to see a Broadway show or just amazing. Or even just, I remember being 6 years old and like in the wintertime, the smell of the chestnuts and those really, really big, really salty pretzels, and having that one, and I was just like, oh my God, it was such a dream of mine. I loved everything about it. And then, interestingly enough, I moved to New York City. Now, I didn't end up living in Manhattan, thank God, because I think that would have been the end of me. I ended up living in Brooklyn, and thank God I was right by the park that was there, and right by the library. That was my saving grace. But New York was an overwhelming city to live in. It's a fun place to go visit, but for me, hello, highly sensitive person, it was overwhelming. And it was about a year into it and I was like, what's wrong? Like I came here to do my dream, right? I'm doing this thing that I love. What happened? And I just started, that was when I first started working with a coach. This is when coaching was brand new. It's like 1997. And she had me fill out this form and do all this stuff. And one of the things I wrote was like that I wasn't really happy with where I lived. And I was like, how could that be? I spent all this time and energy and money being able to move to New York City. I had this dream job at the time. There was so many things that were like, but I love these things. But you know what? It wasn't loving me back. I was tired a lot of the time. It was draining for me to like commute on the subway with all the people and to be around just managing people's energy all the time. New York City took a lot of energy from me. Now, I made some really good friends. I ended up going to the new seminary. There were great things that came from living there. But at the end of the day, the deficit was like, it didn't give me what I needed, right? It wasn't giving me what I needed. And there's nothing wrong with New York. I wasn't aware of what I needed. I thought I knew what I needed because I was doing what I loved. Oh, I love this. I love this. Right. But it wasn't really the right fit for me. So then I moved to California. And California had so many things that were really awesome. And I still love California. I still dream of being in California. I love it. I love it. I love it. But then slowly the energy there started to really shift. And again, amazing, beautiful things happened when I lived in California, lived there for 17 years, met my beautiful wife, lived in an ashram, just like so many things that were dreams come true for me. And then the energy started to shift. And I felt like California's not loving me back quite so much. I noticed that things that used to fill me up were feeling hard and were feeling more and more difficult. And a lot of the resources that were there to help and support me started going away. And then that energy started to change. And then I ended up here in Pennsylvania, of all places, which my ego would tell you, like, I'm in Pennsylvania. Like, what? Well, how did I end up here? It's nothing that I would have ever said. I'm not going to go to somebody and be like, "Hey, guess what? My lifelong dream is to live in Pennsylvania." But what I will tell you is Pennsylvania loves me back. Since I've been on the East Coast, back on the East Coast, there have been so many heart connections that I've created. The pace of life is working for me. The resources around here are working for me. My business has really flourished. There have been some challenges. Things aren't perfect by any means, but I've noticed this really interesting energy of like how I actually am and how I think I am, right? How I think I am is I think that I'm a New York City girl or I'm a San Francisco Bay kind of girl. Like I think that's how I am. And how I am is I'm much more quiet and much more inward. And there's a where I live, there's a really big Quaker presence. And I love the Quakers who are like into nonviolence. The Underground Railroad goes here. Like a lot of things that really resonate with my heart are actually really present here. And then, of course, I love that energy of the Atlantic Ocean and feeling that. So it's been a journey for me to recognize when something or someone actually loves me back. So just think about this for yourself. Do you have a business that's loving you back? Is it supporting you? And if not, chances are you have the wrong business model. You might be somebody who's more introverted and yet you have an extrovert's business model or vice versa. You might be someone who's really extroverted and you have an introvert's business model. That's not going to work for you. You might be somebody who is can easily juggle many things at a time, and you're in a business where you really need to focus on one thing at a time and it's not feeding you. Or the opposite, you're somebody that does terrible with lots of different things at the same time and you really need to focus on one thing at a time, but your business is set up for you to be putting out fires all the time. I love doing this with my clients and looking and seeing like, here's your energy, but here's what's going on in your business and it's a mismatch. It's not going to support you. And what would it be like to start thinking about creating your business, even if you've been in business for 20 years, to start thinking about it from the perspective of how can it support me? Now, this is one of the things I did in my business because early on I recognized, if I have a business that is location specific, and this was way before people started talking about, oh, having a business that you can go anywhere. This is back in like 2004. Deepa and I had just moved to spiritual community and I lost half of my private practice because they were all coming to see me in person. And that's when I said, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to do that. I know myself. I love following my intuition. Divine Mother often will point me in a different direction. And I moved my whole practice. Back then, I was doing everything on the phone, right? So I was doing my consults on the phone. I was doing readings on the phone. I was doing coaching over the phone. And then that evolved into, COVID happened. And I'm so grateful because when COVID happened, people were scrambling to move their business online. And I was just like, I went from the phone to Zoom. It was like, yeah, I was already doing that because I had already been thinking about how can I honor myself and how can I create a business that supports me in every way, not just financially. That's important too. Creatively, emotionally, socially, and all the spiritually, in all the ways that really matter to me. So, if you really want to create a miraculous life for yourself, I want you to think about what would it look like if my life loved me back? What would it look like if I had relationships with people that really loved me back? What would it look like if I had a business that really loved me back? Would it look like if I had a wellness routine or a fitness routine that loved me back, right? So often women, we just accommodate and we think this is what it takes and this is what I have to do. And we don't take into account like what actually works for me. So I'll give you another example. Deepa's gonna laugh, but I was saying this to her is that I was wanting to lose just a little bit of weight, not a lot, just a little bit of weight. And so I started like riding my bike and going for a walk and, logging my time and doing all this stuff of like do. And then what did I realize was that what I was longing for was to go to yoga. And there's a yoga studio, like I could walk to the yoga studio from where I am. It's right up the street from us. And I've been going to deep relaxation yoga. Not the build up your core kind of yoga, but really spiritual yoga, slow yoga. So a combination of yin yoga and gentle yoga and my favorite restorative yoga, which is like I get to lay there, right? I get to lay there with pillows and just do nothing. And would you know it? Doing this as a focus of my wellness, I lost 4 pounds, like, without trying, and I was like, "This is my kind of wellness routine." Deepa was laughing at me. I said, "This is my kind of fitness program, like, I get to lay here and I get to lose weight." Well, my doctor said to me, "Of course, because what's happening is you're out of your sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight energy. That's where the cortisol is happening. That's where the inflammation is happening." She said, "When you're doing this relaxation type of yoga, you're switching into your parasympathetic nervous system and you're letting your body know that you're safe and your inflammation comes down and the cortisol starts to disappear and your body lets go of weight and water and anything else that it's holding on to when it's in that other state." And I was like, "You're kidding me." She's like, "No." She's like, "Anything that you can do." This is why this is such a big deal right now where people are talking about like regulating your nervous system. I'm like, "This is my kind of healing. Like, go and lay down." Right. And then my body goes into a healing state. Thank you, God. Thank you. That is a form of relaxation that's loving me back. That's, I wasn't even thinking about it in terms of weight loss, and it just happened because it's loving me back, because I'm putting myself into that energy of love. This is why I come to you every week and I talk to you about the energy of Mother Mary. I know not everybody resonates with her, but I don't relate to her as a person. I relate to her as the field of unconditional love. When we can connect in with the field of unconditional love, our whole body relaxes because that's what we're made of. We're made from that energy of unconditional love. And when we connect with her, when we connect with that vibration, we're now connected to the field of possibilities and our whole system can relax, right? Because you're letting the universe love you back. I was just talking to a client of mine today who experienced this miraculous thing. And I won't share about, what it was, but I said to her, "Oh, it's such a joy for me to watch you, to witness it in real time of you letting the universe love you." That's what a miracle is, my friends. Having a miraculous life is letting the universe love you. It's getting out of the way, learning how to get out of the way and learning how to let the universe love you because your miracle is already here. This is what I say week after week. I tell you that it's already here, but you're not experiencing it. Why? Because we're getting in the way. And we're getting in the way because we're putting all of our energy out there trying to do more. And I do everything I love. And we're not taking into account letting it love you back. Let the universe love you back, my friend. You have to be open to do that. You have to let yourself be vulnerable to do that. Let the universe love you back. Now, if you are not sure and you want a little bit of help, I love helping people to develop this relationship with the universe, this relationship with your own self, to help you create a life, a really miraculous life, a life that loves you back. I'm going to invite you to have a miracle meeting with me. Go to francisfaden.com. You can see it right there, /miracle meeting. And you can set up a time to talk to me where we're going to talk about what you would love to create in your life, what you would love to experience. And I'm going to be really listening for, do you have a life right now that is allowed to love you back? Do you have a life that's loving you, or do you have a life that is draining you, that's making things difficult, that is perpetuating that sympathetic nervous system that's keeping you in struggle and survival? Have you created a business that loves you back? Is your business set up for your unique talents and your unique gifts? Are you focused on working with people that you love working with, that cherish working with you and love it? They love you back. I want you to have clients that you love that love you back. So think about that. I'd love to talk to you. You can have a miracle meeting with me, and set up a time to see if getting this type of coaching, the kind of coaching that helps you create a miraculous life, a life that loves you back. That's what you want to create. So I encourage you to take a look at some things. Take a look at your health, take a look at your money, take a look at your business or your career, and take a look at your relationships. Those are those four areas, or even your spiritual relationships too. Take a look at those and say, are are these one-sided relationships, or is my money loving me back? Or is it creating a lot of stress and worry for me? Are my friendships and my relationships loving me back, or are they kind of one-sided? Is my business loving me back, or am I pouring all of my energy into my business and it's just taking from me? Is my relationship with God and my relationship with the universe one that I'm allowing to love me back? Or am I telling the universe, I got it, I'm in control, you don't need to help me? Or am I allowing the universe to come and have miracles happen in ways that I could never, ever predict? Think about those things. I would love for you to think about those things and let me know what you discover. You can always leave me a comment down below, and I am so happy to hear from you and to encourage you any way I can for you to create your miraculous life, for you to create a life that loves you back. Remember, my friend, the key to having that miraculous life is knowing your miracle, it is already here, and that you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve to have a life that loves you back. We'll see you next time, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, my miraculous friend, thank you so much for watching. If you want to be the first one to know when new videos are released, just click the subscribe button. And if you click the notify me button, you'll be the first one to know, especially if I go live. Thank you once again, and I'm sending you all my love and blessings.